a study group session in a quiet classroom. 6 students are gathered around a large table, textbooks and notebooks open in front of them. The atmosphere is collaborative, with everyone eager to understand the concepts.
Okay, so we're diving into proving concepts today, and I'm still a bit confused about algebra concepts tie into geometric proofs. How do the properties of equality come into play?
Good question, bro. Remember when we solve equations in algebra, we apply the properties of equality like adding the same number to both sides or multiplying by a non-zero number. In geometry, it's similar. When we are proving something, we often rely on these properties to manipulate equations and establish relationships between geometric figures.
Yeah. Like when we're given a statement like if A and B is equal to CD, then A and B plus EF is equal to CD plus EF. That's just the addition property of equality, right? We're adding the same segment EF to both sides to maintain equality.
Exactly, but let's not forget about the properties of inequality. They're just as important, especially when we deal with inequalities in geometric proofs. For example, if we know angle A is greater than angle B, we might need to show how their relationship impacts other parts of triangle or a figure.
Wait, could you give an example where we use properties of inequalities in geometric proof? I think I get it, but an example would really help solidify it for me.
Sure. Let's think about the triangle inequality theorem. It states that the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. To prove this, we often start by assuming that the sum of two sides is less than or equal to the third side and then show how this leads to a contradiction using the properties of inequality.
So, if I understand correctly, we can use subtraction property of inequality to manipulate the sides of the inequality, and ultimately prove that the original assumption must be false, right?
Exactly, and don't forget about absolute value. It's super important when we're dealing with distances in geometry, since distance is always positive. The definition of absolute value, which is the distance from zero, helps us establish bounds and relationships in proofs.
Speaking of absolute value, let's discuss a scenario. Suppose we have 2 points of a number lying at negative 3 and 5. How would you express the distance between these 2 points using absolute value? And how does that relate to geometric proofs?
Good one. The distance between -3 and -5 is the absolute value of their difference. Absolute value of 5 minus -3, and which simplifies to absolute value of 5 plus 3 or absolute value of 8. So the distance is 8. The concept is crucial when proving statements. So about distance in coordinate geometry, where we often need to show that certain distances are equal or follow a specific pattern.
Right. So, when we're given a geometric problem that involves distances, we can use absolute value to set up equations and inequalities that help us prove relationships just like in algebra.
Exactly. And that ties everything together. Whether it's properties of inequality, or absolute value, all these algebraic tools are indispensable in building our geometric proof. They help us make the logical leaps needed to move from one step of a proof to the next.
We're starting to understand everything connects now. Proving geometry isn't just about shapes and angles. It's about using all these foundational concepts to show why things are true.
Exactly, bro. Geometry is much about logical reasoning as it is about figures. Every step in a proof needs to be justified. And that's where our understanding of algebraic properties really shines.
This discussion definitely helped clear things up. I feel more confident now in tackling proofs knowing that we can rely these properties to guide us.
Me too. Let's keep these principles in mind as we move forward. The more we practice, the more intuitive it will become.
Agreed. I'm ready to tackle some practice problems now. Let's put these ideas to the test.
Sounds like a plan. Let's see what we can prove today.
The scene ends with a group diving into their textbooks, ready to apply the concepts they've discussed in solving geometric proofs. A study group session in a quiet classroom. 6 students are gathered around a large table, textbooks and notebooks open in front of them. The students are preparing for the upcoming assessment on the learning objectives related to proving properties of equality and inequality and absolute value.
Our assessment coming up, and I want to make sure that we are clear difference between properties and equality and equality, and how do we compare and contrast them.
Well, the properties of equality are all about maintaining balance. For example, if you add or subtract the same number from both sides of an equation, the equality is preserved. The same goes for multiplication and division by a non-zero number. But inequality is different. You have to be more careful. If you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you need to flip the inequality sign.
Right, and that's a key difference. Inequalities are more sensitive to the operations we perform on them. For instance, if A is less than B, and we multiply both sides by -1, we get negative A is greater than negative B. That reversal doesn't happen with equalities. Could we say that inequalities requires an additional layer of consideration?
Absolutely. Inequalities add complexity because they can change the direction of the comparison. This is particularly important when we're solving problems or proving something. We have to think about what effect each other operation will have on the inequality. It's like navigating a more complex path compared to the straightforwardness of equalities.
So how do we apply these properties when solving problems? For example, what's the process when we're given compound inequality and need to isolate a variable?
Great question. When you're dealing with a compound inequality like 3 less than 2x plus 1 less than or equal to 7, you treat each part separately but simultaneously. First, you would subtract 1 from all 3 parts, 2 less than 2x less than or equal to 6. Then, divide everything by 2:1 less than x less than or equal to 3. This gives us the range of possible values for x, but we had to carefully maintain the inequality relationship at each step.
And when it comes to a formal proof, where do these properties come into play? How do we structure a proof that incorporates them?
A formal proof is like a chain of reasoning where each link is justified by a property, axiom, or theorem. We start with what's given, then apply the appropriate properties to manipulate the equation or inequality until we reach the desired conclusion. If we're proving something about a geometric figure, we might start by setting up an equation using the properties of equality and then use properties of inequality to show how different parts relate to each other.
So, in a proof, every step must be justified by a property we've learned. Like building a case in court, you need solid evidence for each claim. What about absolute values? How does that fit into geometric proofs?
Absolute value is crucial when we're dealing with distances, especially on a number line or in a coordinate geometry. It represents the distance between a number and zero, regardless of direction. Geometrically, it helps us understand how far points are from each other. For example, if we want to find the distance between point A and point B on a number line, we could use the absolute value of their differences, which is absolute value minus B.
That makes sense. Absolute value strips away the direction and focuses purely on magnitude. But in geometry, how do we interpret that? Like, if we have a line segment with endpoints at -2 and 3, how do we explain the distance using absolute value?
Both. The distance between -2 and 3 is the absolute value minus -2 is equal to 13 plus 21 equal to 5. Geometrically, this tells us that no matter where the segment is located on the number line, the length is 5 units. We can extend this idea to other geometric problems, like finding the length of a side of a polygon or the distance between points in the coordinate plane.
Absolute value helps us focus on the size of the segment without worrying about its position or direction. This is really helpful in both algebra and geometry.
Exactly. And understanding how to apply these properties in different contexts, whether we're dealing with equalities, inequalities, or absolute values, gives us a toolkit for solving a wide range of problems.
I think I'm getting the hang of it. The key is to recognize which property to apply in each situation and to use it to build our proofs or solve the equation step by step.
Definitely. Let's try applying these ideas to some practice problems now. We can test each other on identifying the properties to use and structuring our proofs logically.
Good idea. And let's make sure we really understand the reasoning behind each step. So, we're not just memorizing but actually learning how to apply these concepts.
Action! Sounds like a plan. The more we practice, the better we'll get at this. Let's see who can come up with the trickiest problem to solve.
This ends with the students diving into the textbooks, challenging each other with complex problems that test their understanding of learning objectives.